Good morning, students. I welcome you for the biology class. Today, in this video, we'll study about the conservation of forest and wildlife. Wildlife conservation is the practice of protecting endangered plant animal species and their habitats in an effort to maintain the ecological balance. The government lays down the rules, regulations, and policies to protect our forest and wildlife. The following activities are prohibited. So they are cutting down trees, grazing cattle, hunting, plantation and cultivation, poaching. So poaching means illegally killing or capturing the wild animals. Coming to biosphere reserve. The biosphere reserve it's an area which aims to conserve the biodiversity of the area as well as its culture. It may contain other protected areas within it. For example, Pachmai Biosphere Reserve has a national park called as Satpura National Park and two wildlife sanctuaries called Buri Wildlife Sanctuary and Pachmai Wildlife Sanctuary. So in India, there are 18 biosphere reserves in India. So these are the places for conservation of wildlife, animals, plants, traditional life of tribes. So these are the areas meant for conservation of biodiversity. The biosphere reserve conserves the biodiversity and the culture of that particular area. So in this particular slide, you can see the national thing. So as we mentioned over here, so there are two wildlife sanctuaries. So you can see the two wildlife sanctuaries of Wori and Pachmai Sanctuary. Coming to biological diversity or biodiversity, it refers to a variety of organisms living on the earth, their interrelationship and their relationship with the environment. Some of the well-known biosphere reserves in India are Nilgiri Biosphere Reserves in Karnataka, Sundarbans in West Bengal. So where you have 18 reserves in India. So we'll go through that. So in this particular thing on the map, you can see the red color spots. So those are the biosphere reserves in India. So we can list that. So the first one is Achanakamar and Amarkand Biosphere Reserve. It's in Madhya Pradesh. And Agastya Malai, it's in Kerala. Cold Desert, it's in Himachal Pradesh. So Dibur Saibong in Assam. Dihang and Dibag in Arunachal Pradesh. It's Great Nicobar in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The Grey Run of Kutch in Gujarat. Gulf of Mannar in Tamil Nadu. Kanchenjunga and Sikkim. Manas in Assam. Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve in Uttarakhand, Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka, Nokrek in Meghalaya, Pachmai Biosphere in Madhya Pradesh, Panna in Madhya Pradesh, Sheshachalam in Andhra Pradesh, Simplipal in Odisha, and Sundarbans in West Bengal. So these are the 18 biosphere. So it's all extra information for you students. So coming to flora and fauna. So flora means the plants found in a particular area are referred to as flora of that particular area. So these are the floras what you see. It's a sal tree and this is Arjun and this is teak, this is silver fern and mango and jamun. Coming to fauna. So these are the animals found in particular area and refer to a fauna of that particular area. So these two, the flora and fauna, what you see in Patmai Biosphere Reserve. So there's the blue bull and wolf, leopard, barking deer, chinkara, cheetal. So those are the thing about flora and fauna. So let us know what is species. It's a group of organisms which are capable of interbreeding. They can reproduce and give birth to infants of the same kind and not of other kinds. So these organisms will possess the same characteristics. Coming to endemic species. These are the species which are completely confined in a particular area and they are not found anywhere else. Any plant or animal could be endemic to an area, a state, or a country. If any destruction takes place at such habitats, then it could affect their population and could also endanger the entire species' existence. Example of endemic species includes a tree like sal, wild mango, etc., and animals like bison, Indian giant squirrel, etc., which are found in Pachmar Biosphere Reserve. You can see the diagram, you can see the sal plant, wild mango, bison, and flying squirrel. Thank you, students. In the next video, we'll study about the wildlife sanctuary and the national park. Until then, have a nice day.